Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening YouTube. What's going on? It's your boy Joey Does Tech and welcome yourselves back to a brand new video. This one is going to be a follow-up from last week's video where I bought a Nintendo Switch for £50 on eBay, tried to fix it, but failed. I've now received some parts and components that should help me repair this device. Should being the key word here. I have a brand new USB-C fast charging device for the Nintendo Switch. This cost me £14.99 on Amazon. I have a USB amp meter that was actually suggested to me by TronicsFix, aka Steve, so thank you for that, as well as another amp meter. This one's USB-C, so you have two separate ones. So this one is just a generic USB one with two outputs for USB, and this one is USB-C. And I thought this one would be, it's USB-C to USB-C. I thought it would be more accurate for the Nintendo Switch, or I'd perhaps get better use and more use out of it for the Nintendo Switch specifically. I also have a Nintendo Switch battery. This cost me £10, I think, from eBay. So yeah, it's HAC003, which is the exact same as the other one that's in the Nintendo Switch at the moment. And last but not least, I actually have some new multimeter prongs. These are very, very sharp, a lot tinier on the ends. So it's gonna make it easier for me to be able to hopefully get into the smaller components of things and measure them more accurately with these. If you wanna see the video where I first diagnose a Switch and see if I can fix it the first time around from last week, I'd highly suggest watching it. I'll leave a link in the video description down below and a card in the corner. Tell you actually what we're going to do firstly is I'm going to use my new prongs to hopefully tell me what the voltage is of this new battery. I believe it's last red to last black. That gives us a reading of 3.8 volts. I'll just test the other side as well. I know that there's probably no need for me to do this, but 3.8 volts. I'm pretty sure as a 3.7 volt battery, this could go a little bit higher. It says 3.7 here, and as you can see, that's how small I was able to actually get those prongs in. Look at that. I was able to measure both sides, so that side and that side. And if you do fancy getting some of these yourself, they're around about £8 on Amazon. I'll leave the link below in the description, affiliated link. Without further ado, I'm going to take apart the Nintendo Switch. I actually want to measure the old battery that's in there because that was the thing. My prongs that I had previously weren't thin enough, so I'm going to test that battery and see if it's completely dead. However, actually, before we do that, should we see what this reads on the old amp meter? I'm going to use the USB-C one with the new charger. Okay, it just reaches far enough. So I'm going to plug this in now. Let's go. All right, so we've got a reading of 0.47 amps. But that says 15 volts at the top here. Now, as far as I'm aware, it's probably going to be at the bottom of the screen. I'm really sorry. It's just as far as I could probably stretch it. 15 volts is what it's meant to go to fast charge. So it's almost like it's instantly trying to fast charge the device. Let me try again. Yeah, 15 volts. And it's just stuck at 0.47 amps. I guess I see a lot of people turn it around. So I'm going to try that now. And again, 15 volts. I'm going to leave it to charge for a little bit and see what happens. Quite literally, nothing changed. So I'm going to take apart the Nintendo DS, I'm going to measure the old battery, and then we're going to swap to the new battery and see if that gets it working. We are going to check the old battery and see how charged or dead it potentially is. I've set this to DC volts 20. Goes on there. That goes there. 3.38. So do you know what? That's not dead. I don't think. Or maybe it is. I'm not really too sure. So I'm going to plug in the other battery now and see how we're going to get on with that. Take that out, bend that over. Okay. All right. Now, do I plug it in or do I see if it's on first? I think what's that? I mean, something's just fallen off of this. I don't really know what. It's like a mount of some sort, like where a screw would go. There's a lot of threaded screws on this device, so it probably wouldn't surprise me if it was from down here or something. Let's see if it turns on. Nothing, okay. So that's with a replacement battery. Nothing happens, can't hear any sounds. So I'm gonna put the charger in now. So this says 15 volts and 0.47 amps, which is exactly what the other battery was saying. Now let me disconnect the battery. Now what I'm gonna do is just try without any connected battery to see if we get anything different. 15 volts, 0.08 amps this time. It's just stuck on 0.08, nothing on the screen. 0.08. I'm going to test with my multimeter to check some of the basic things that I checked last time, but I just want to go over them again just because I've got the new probes and they might be a bit more accurate. So black is going to go on to ground. We're going to first of all, actually no, let's check the fuse first at the front. Fuse is fine. Now I'm just going to check some capacitors around this, which is the M92 chip. That's fine. That's fine. All of those are fine. Check the coil. That's meant to have continuity. No, it did just beep. It did just beep, but it's now stopped. Okay, interesting. Everywhere else, the caps seem fine. That coil, that's surprising me. What's happening? You should be able to hear it in the background, right? So if I go pad to pad. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, so that's really, really, really crusty. If I go pad to pad, wait a minute, I now get something, but that might be because I've just scraped away. That might be because with these new prongs, I've managed to scrape some stuff away. So pad to pad, it's now connecting. Okay, so the coil's fine, the resistor is fine. The capacitors around the M92 chip are fine. I have nothing else to test. That's as far as my knowledge goes. I did scrape back quite a bit of stuff that was on that. So what I am going to do now is plug this battery back in. Actually, no, I'll plug the other one in, actually. And now I'll put the amp meter back in. Still stuck at 15 volts, 0.47 amps. If I turn it around, still nothing on the screen. This battery was showing a reading of 3.8 volts, wasn't it? So I'm now going to test it and just make sure that it's actually still going up. Is it 4.01 now? So it's climbed up. I'm just doing a quick finger test to see if anything is getting hot on the board. It doesn't seem like it. Nothing seems to be getting. Oh, wait a minute. Something was hot then. That coil was very hot. That coil was very hot, and that chip is pretty hot as well. What about M92? M92 isn't hot at all. The CPU, where the CPU is, which is I think like around here, and obviously under where all the thermal paste is, I can't feel the heatsink getting hot at all. But I don't know if it's too early for that. But it's not getting hot here. And I think this is where the memory chips are. I could be wrong. But that coil is very, very hot. And that chip is also very, very hot. Question is that going up in terms of, is it charging? 4.02 now, so it's probably at like full charge. Yeah, the coil was very hot. I have found something out, but I'm just trying to make sense of it, and I'm really, really, really stuck, okay? So, meter is in continuity mode. When I go to this capacitor here, north is fine, south is fine, okay? That's what's meant to happen as far as I'm aware. North fine, south fine. When I go to this cap here, left fine, right fine. However, and I'll do the one above it, just to make sure as well. So left side fine, right side fine. When I take my negative and positive and I put it on this cap, oh, it stopped beeping now. Well, it was beeping. If I switch them around, there we go. It's beeping and then it stops. If I go back the other way, beep, stop. So I keep switching these. They are making noises. But if I just go black on ground, north is fine, south is fine. North is fine, south is fine. Put these back on, beep, stop. Turn it around, beep, stop. If I put two of the probes on the cap above, nothing as well, okay? So no matter what way I put the wires on this one, there's no continuity. Exactly the same with this cap here as well. Exactly the same. So again, both on, beep, stop. Swap them, none, but there's a small beep. But that doesn't happen on any of the other capacitors. So I'm really confused. What's confusing me the most, and what I don't understand personally, don't know if anyone's going to be able to help me in the comments, is this is on ground and it's fine. It does beep once, but it's fine. Second I get two, it starts beeping. I thought in my head if it was shorted, surely going from ground, and I've tried other ground points as well, so for example the charger, it beeps for a little bit then it stops. That one goes forever, and that one now isn't doing anything. This seems to be all over the place. So look at the numbers. 1.7, 100, 0, 2.6, 1.8, and they'll jump up again in a sec. 7, 178. So I've got a feeling maybe that it's the coil. That's where my head's at. I went onto the TronicsFix forum and posted the situation that we've got going on here. I'm not going to post the whole thing and talk you through it all, but there was a guy called Severance, so big shout out to Severance. Probably not going to ever see this video, but big shout out to you, my guy. And this is what he said to try. He says, start by removing the BQ chip, which is at the bottom next to this coil here. He thinks we might have a short on the sys rail, and BQ is likely at fault. And he said, instead of using continuity, set your meter to resistance mode and place one probe on ground and the other on the side of the 2R2 coil, which is this coil here, near the BQ IC, and note the reading. So that's what I'm going to try right now. So I'm going to zoom in as much as I can. So I'm going to start in, I'll start at 200 and work my way up. So I'm going to start ground. So we go to the top, nothing, bottom, nothing. I think he means this side. He said nearest to the BQ chip, so I'm going to assume it's here, but this could be completely wrong, but nothing is getting picked up there, as you can see. So I'm going to switch it up to 2K and do the same. Top, nothing, bottom, nothing. In here, well, we jumped up a little bit there, but I don't know if that's because it touched the cap here. 0.01, I'm going to go up again. Go top, bottom, in here, nothing. And I don't think I should do 200K. Oh, wait a minute. I don't know if that's touching. I don't think it is. So I don't actually get a reading. However, if I go back to continuity and I go between here and here, I get continuity. So what Severance said was note the reading and then remove the BQ chip and then note another reading. However, because we're not getting a reading, I think my next best bet is to remove this BQ chip and test around the area to see if there are any shorts. I'm very nervous. This is the first time I've ever replaced a BQ chip. I do have other BQ chips that I ordered in. I think they're these ones. So I do have some spares if I mess up. Well, I've got one other spare if I do mess up. Let's do this and wish me luck. I'm gonna apply some heat to the board first and then I'm gonna apply some flux. I've gone for 460 temperature and 2 on the airflow. So that is what we've just removed. Ah, I'm so happy. It's the first time removing an IC chip. If my hands are a bit shaky, it's because I'm very, very nervous. But yeah, it felt good. It felt really, really good. All right, so now let's just check real quick and see if there are any shorts around the area. I still get an ever so slight beep when I touch these two. Ever so slight. I get nothing from this capacitor. Nothing either side. At all. But following the trace where the chip is, I get something here. So it must be fine. But I don't know if that goes through to this cap and that should also do something. I don't know. Okay. I'm now going to measure again with the multimeter. I'm going to start with 200 to see if I get any readings from the coil, okay? Nothing. Nothing. 0.03 on 200. I'm putting up to 2K now, resistance mode. Nothing. 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 It's gone up to 20K. 0.03, 0.02, 0.01, 0.0. Nothing. Nothing. Do I still have continuity? Yes, I still have continuity. I'm actually going to put the heat gun on this coil as well, and I'm going to reflow it with a little bit of flux. So let's just put that on now. Cool. Just a little bit of a reflow. I'm also now just going to add a tiny bit of solder to the coil just to make sure we have that solid connection. Just want to tidy up a little bit, that's okay. Quick continuity test to make sure. Perfect. Now one thing to note that I am noticing is that there are two, I believe, fuses here on the right side of the BQIC. They don't, I mean, I'll go to this one up top, so meters in continuity mode. That's fine. This one, nothing. And obviously this one, nothing. So I don't know if that's got a part to play in anything at all, but I'm not getting anything from these whatsoever. So I'm now going to replace, I'm going to replace the BQ chip now. We've got no, there's hardly any solder on the pads, so we need to do that again. This is quite a big blob of solder in the middle. I don't think it's going to work. I'll go around and touch the outsides after I put the chip on, but yeah, I've just not got faith. These two are also bridging, but I'm going to go ahead and assume that this is ground. But yeah, I can't solder this off, unfortunately. So these two pads are touching. This one's a little bit iffy down here. I don't know what's going on with this one, but yeah, I'm gonna go ahead with the chip replacement now. This isn't going to work, but do you know what? It's all part of learning, right? Good amount of flux as well. Let's just get it in place first, and I'm going to push it down. I think it's way too much solder on the actual pad itself, so there's going to be a lot of solder to come out, but we can clean that up. It's okay, I think. Already that's gone just completely. I need to lower it. Okay, there we go. Come on, zap it, zap it. Do you know what? It's in place enough, I think. If I tap it, does it bounce? Yeah, it does. Okay, fine. And now a little bit more flux. And now I'm going to push down on the chip. And there's going to be a big blob of solder that comes out. I know there is. No, wait a minute, there's a cap. Okay. There's a cap, I can see a cap. I don't know where that capacitor's come from. Yeah, there's a lot of solder underneath, so that was a mistake. I'll get better for that next time, but I need to sort this cap out. I think that cap's fine now. Okay, not too bad, not too bad, not too bad, not too bad. It obviously looks very messy right now. Okay, let's touch up the edges and then we'll come back in with soldering iron and just clean up this cap down here and also this cap over here. Right, let's touch up around the sides. Man, I put so much I put so much flux on to try and there's a between these two. There's obviously a pin here and a pin here. I couldn't get in between it. I feel like I've just burnt through it now, but obviously this is struggling as well. But yeah, that is completely screwed, I think. Everything else, I guess, is still really bad. Yeah, this whole attempt hasn't been that good. There's definitely 2 pins connected there, and I can't get that piece of solder off. And I've used so much. What I don't understand is I've used so much flux, like so much, and I keep using it and using it and using it, because that's one thing you always get kind of told is just use flux, you know. And the tip of my soldering iron, I haven't got a smaller tip than this, and I'm just trying to, you know, scrape away this. But it's just not going, you see. Like if I hold it down and just try and flip it out, it just there's no solder on the tip either to spread it, so it's just not making that connection. It's a horrendous job. I need to sort these 2 capacitors out. So I have this one here, which is a bit skew-if. It still works, I'm assuming. And I also have this one that needs to also get sorted out. So. You've also got the capacitor, which is like here, but then you've got this bit here, which is, I think, that's actually the end of the cap. This bit here is the actual end of the capacitor. It's the silver bit. It's literally just come off, both of them, both of the sides to this cap that I'm trying to sort out. The sides have just fallen off. Yeah, this is screwed. Hey, Joey. I failed miserably. Right, let's get it tested. I know that it's not going to work. I've got a Hoover gun on the background. I've got my my hot air gun is cooling down. The board is now cool. So I'm literally going to plug in a charger and a battery just to see what happens. If for whatever reason I get electrocuted or something happens, then I just want you all to know that I love every single one of you, okay? That kind of, that would, to me, that's right, yeah? So no amps whatsoever are going to the battery. It's understandable. Is anything getting hot? Not that I can feel. Nothing's getting hot to the touch. Like it's gone. It's definitely gone. So because it's not working, I'm now going to replace M92. Why not? Look, it's just at this point it's for practice. So let's replace this quick. So we're gonna get some flux. Very sensitive components around it, small resistors and caps. So I'm actually gonna go. Luckily we have the shielding. I was gonna go for a 1 again. Like, where has that even gone, dude? Attempt 2, let's go. Quick clean with some IPA as well. Personally, not a bad attempt. I'm just going to test for shorts around the area to see what's going on. I actually think that's soldered on fine, which is weird for me to say considering what's just happened. Yeah, there's no shorts anywhere. So that's good. That's a result. I managed to replace that one okay. I did have to swap my tips around. So I exchanged from like a smaller one. I'll show you the smaller one on the left and the bigger one on the right. That's the small one, that's the bigger one. So I did have to, I had to change it up a little bit with the size of the nozzle at the end of my heat gun. But everything seems to be okay with this chip, which I'm happy about. All of the solder points on here look absolutely fine. I'm holding this, so apologies, a bit shaky, but I mean, yeah, it looks good. I'm okay with that. And the same with this side and all the other sides, absolutely fine. I mean, yeah, that's, because I knocked these at the top, these caps, they're fine now, they're fine. I've measured them for continuity and they're no problems at all, but yeah, that was stressful. That was because I was using a smaller nozzle and I was going round and round and round, and then eventually it just knocked these off, but that was on 1% heat as well. Okay, you're not gonna believe me when I say this. I've just found a resistor like on my microscope plate, and I was checking back the footage and the resistor is, there's meant to be one here, and I've got it at the end of my tweezers. So I'm gonna heat up my soldering iron real quick and just put that back. Now that's done, let's check and see if anything different happens on the amp meter. Okay, that's enough of me mucking around today. I replaced the BQ chip, I knocked off a capacitor, that's gone, I have no idea where it's gone. It's almost like the contacts on either side fell off, so there was no hope in replacing that whatsoever. Replaced the BQ chip, at the end it looked okay, and then I found that there was a resistor missing. I found the resistor, which was just on my microscope board, put that back, changed M92, and M92 change I think went well. I had a bigger nozzle, more control. This is all just going to come down to experience and keep trying. This has all been a massive learning curve to me. I have failed today. However, you fail, you learn, you succeed, and I'll keep repeating that process. Even if I don't succeed, you fail, you learn, you learn, you fail, you learn. I'll keep going until I can get something like this working, and hopefully with a bit of experience. I'm going to get some more solder boards, I think. I have to practice more with the heat gun. When I switched to a bigger nozzle, it was a lot better. And I think it's just knowing your kit, it's knowing your equipment, knowing what to use, when to use it. The flux, I don't know, the flux situation today, I was putting so much flux on and it just made the board so sticky, and it just, some things weren't, the solder wasn't moving, and I don't know if that was tip related though. Maybe I was using a smaller tip, too small of a tip. I was getting a bit, hot and flustered because it's my first time trying it. The switch didn't work in the first place, so it's not a great loss. And £50 on spares and repairs, I can use this board going forward, that's fine. But I'm going to test it real quick with this amp meter. So I put it in now. What happens? Zoom in a little bit. So I get 15 volts and 0.01 amps now, which that didn't happen before. So clearly whatever I've done today has affected this in some way, shape or form. I personally think it's the BQ chip, that capacitor around it, the little tiny one, the smallest capacitor I've ever seen in my life. The contacts on either side just went, so there's no way of getting that back in place with my expertise anyway. Let me just turn the tablet on, see if this changes at all, okay. So it's gone to 0.08 when I click the on button at the top of the tablet. Let me hold down the power button and see if this goes back then to whatever it was, like 0.01. Still holding. I think it's like 15 seconds it takes for the switch to completely reset. And it does lit. So it goes to 0.01 amps. So the battery is somehow drawing something. I think if we had that capacitor, maybe that would help us a little bit. But yeah, I'll press the button again. I've just pressed it and it's gone to 0.07, but there's nothing on the screen at all, and I can't see any backlight, to be honest with you. So yeah, I think this is written off. If you do know what is going on with this switch, where I might have messed up in all of that soldering, there was no bridge contacts, by the way. I've tested every single capacitor again that is on the board, from M92 T36 to the BQ chip, as well as the P13 USB on the back of the board as well, and it all seems to be fine. There was a short when I was messing around with the BQ chip, but we got that sorted eventually by using the hot air gun again and redoing it, and it seemed to work absolutely fine. When I say work absolutely fine, I mean there was no shorts around it. The only thing I'm thinking is that capacitor has a part to play in this whole situation. I could be wrong. Please let me know in the comment section down below. This video has been completely scuffed and I'm so sorry, but this is Joey Does Tech, this is learning, and I hope you guys have enjoyed to some capacity. This definitely isn't over with this switch, and worst case scenario, I'll be using it for parts. So this is gonna be a big old learning curve. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have a good day, good afternoon, good evening, and also a great weekend. PS is coming home, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I appreciate it. Peace.